Hello, welcome to Cardboard History. I'm David. Well, it's been a while since I've done a pickup video or anything like that, and things have been crazy for the past month since the Strongsville show. And so I have quite a few things to share with you guys, some life updates, some cards that I've picked up, and kind of look at where things are heading as we head into the summer. So right after Strongsville, I had a big test coming up. I am an electrical engineer by trade, and I have been preparing to take my professional engineer's licensing exam, which is a huge 8-hour all-day exam sitting in a room thinking about electrical engineering and codes and fun things like that. So right after Strongsville, that was I spent 2 weeks with my nose in a book and really tried to prepare for that. And then it was around May 2nd I took that test. May 4th, then my family, we had planned to leave for vacation. But the week leading up to the test and vacation, there were a few family medical emergencies that came up with some of my extended family. And at first, it looked like we weren't going to be able to go on vacation. And then medical things turned around, but then the next day another member of the family ended up in the hospital with just kind of a freak medical condition out of nowhere. And so again we thought, okay, we're not going to be able to leave. We need to stay around to support the family, to help with watching kids and things like that. But thankfully they recovered well and are still recovering, and we were able to leave on vacation just a day later than we had originally planned. We went down to Myrtle Beach for a week with my wife and our 3 daughters and mother-in-law, and it was a great time there, and then spent another week in Raleigh visiting some friends. This is the second year that we've done this 2-week trip where we spend a week in each of the cities, and it's just been a really enjoyable time to get away from work for a little bit longer and just to refocus on life and things like that. One thing that we've done the last few years in Myrtle Beach is go to a Pelicans game, which is always a lot of fun for me. The Pelicans are a high A affiliate of the Chicago Cubs. Being a Cubs fan, it's always fun to see some of the prospects as they're starting into the minor league system and before they really make their way up. And it's also a great chance to get some autographs and to talk with some of the players. They're usually pretty friendly, and we'll chat after the game. So after the game, I got a few autographs, spoke to a couple of guys. Alfonso Rosario is one of the guys signed in the international draft. And he was talking to us and wondered, one of the guys there had some of his team-issued cards to sign, and he was asking about when the licensed Topps cards would be coming out, and mentioned that he had signed like 6,500 cards for Topps, which is just a crazy number. I know there's some guys that signed way more than that. But the day that we went to the game was actually release day for Bowman, so his first Bowman autograph cards had just come out that day. So it was fun to talk to him about all that, and talk to a couple of other guys about their experience with Topps and signing, and kind of finding out when stuff's going to be released. So it was a really fun experience. I'll turn the camera around now and share some of the cards that I was able to get autographed. Before the game, I had the chance to catch a couple of the coaches, the manager, who's Buddy Bailey, and Coach Roberto Vaz. These guys, these cards are the team-issued cards that from last year. You can pick these up usually in the gift shop. And so I had ordered these online ahead of time, knowing that I was going to a game, and would be able to get a couple of these autographed. Another one that I got signed was Arian Rodriguez. He pitched in the game, did a pretty good job in middle innings relief. The Pelicans won the game, so overall really good. The starting pitcher for the game was Mason McGuire. Now, I couldn't find any cards of his, but I did talk to him a little bit after the game and had him sign this piece of paper, which is what I had taken to the game to get players' numbers and things like that. And so just to get his autograph. Mason McGuire is the son of Mark McGuire, and he's a pitching prospect with the Cubs. In spring training, Mark McGuire was actually helping coach the Cubs teams, which is just really interesting as a not lifelong Cardinal, but mostly remember him for being a Cardinal and being kind of a rival of the Cubs, to see him now working with the Cubs to help his son. So I got Mason to sign this after the game. And then a few other guys that signed was Reggie Preciado. Got a couple of his Bowman cards signed, and Christopher Pasiola got his first Bowman. I like this with the color match, so that's why I picked up a few of these cards before going to Myrtle Beach, hoping that I could get them signed at the game. So that was really fun. I also went to a couple of card shops in Myrtle Beach and picked up a few, interesting things. A few things on the more modern. I found a home run parade for Sosa. There's 66 different cards. I've talked about these before. And the set is part of the numbering, number 461, of the base top set, but there's 66 different cards that have each of his different home runs highlighted, and on the back it shows the distance and some information about that home run. So I'm trying to put together the whole set of these. I have about 10 of them so far, and when I saw one in a cheap value box, I picked it up, and also found a couple of other numbered parallels from more recent Topps releases. Usually when I can find this for $1 or $2, I'll just pick them up. And then, interestingly, I was at Baseball 17 in Myrtle Beach and saw these sitting in kind of a side display cabinet with a bunch of other exhibits. These are the 61J Publishing team photos. There was 12 photos for the Cubs each year that they released these, and the guy had 3 of these. He had Richie Ashburn, Don Zimmer, and Mo Thacker. So I picked these up for a couple bucks a piece. Just something from the 60s that I think is really kind of cool. I'll leave these back here to get something more than just my black background. So that was in Myrtle Beach. Then went to Raleigh for a week and checked out card shop there, Cardiacs, they've got some good value boxes there and things to look around. I managed to hold off buying too much. I think these were all out of their 75-cent box. So rainbow foil of Chris Bryant, the X-Fractor from 21, 2020 Lester Refractor, and then a couple of Lester, Rizzo, and Bryant pink refractors. So occasionally I try to put together the mini rainbows of these if I see them around. It's not something that I really go after, but if I can pick these up for $1 or less in a value box, I'll usually pick those up as well. And then after Raleigh, we got back home, and as you can imagine, being gone for 2 weeks, I had quite a few packages waiting for me from things that I had ordered before we left, and I'll share some of those now. These first 2 cards are part of the Ken Burns documentary collection. They're both from the 1986 Fritz's Negro League Baseball Stars. There's two sets that have identical pictures and images on them. The other one's the 84 Decathlon. And these cards for Moses Fleetwood Walker, this is his earliest card. He doesn't have any playing days cards. Moses Fleetwood Walker was the last African-American major league player. Played it for Toledo in the American Association before the Gentleman's Agreement banned African-American players from major leagues. And so he doesn't have any playing days cards, obviously, and this was his first card, or I guess this would be his second in 86. The first is the Decathlon from 84, which is the same image, but it's more scarce. I wouldn't say rare, but they don't show up very often, and I saw this on eBay for a couple bucks, so I picked it up. This was the card for him for the Ken Burns collection. And then another card from the same set is Buck O'Neil. And I saw this pop up for an auction and being signed. I decided, I would go for this one, spend a little bit more than I had kind of in my budget idea for this card for Buck O'Neil, because it's 84. It's not a crazy expensive card, but Buck O'Neil is my favorite part of the entire Ken Burns documentary. Listening to his stories and what he has to share of his experience in the Negro Leagues, and even his experience as a coach with the Cubs, and he just has such an insight to the history of baseball, being so involved in playing with Satchel Paige and a lot of the other great players in the Negro Leagues. So I thought this was a great card to pick up, signed. And so those are both cards for the Ken Burns collection that I'm working on. And then some of the other cards that came in the mail, Topps Heritage, released while I was gone, and picked up a cheap relic of Christopher Morel, currently my favorite player on the Cubs. And just like the Clubhouse collection, I think those are fun cards. I had a few more cards come in for my Topps Pro Debut Rainbow attempt. It's not going to happen. A couple of the Superfractors sold while I was gone on eBay, and they just went for higher than I wanted to pay at auction. So I'll have to settle for seeing how far I can get without getting any of the Superfractors. But this is P. Crow Armstrong, now actually playing with the Cubs. That's the teal to 75. Christian Hernandez, got to see him play for the Pelicans down in Myrtle Beach. This is his autograph number to 50. And then another P. Crow Armstrong. This one's the orange number to 25. And picked up another Morel. This is the 5-star auto. This was a Facebook group purchase. I saw somebody posted this for like $20, and being a rookie auto for the 5-star, I wanted to pick that up. Mike Baseball Collector does the 5-star Hall of Fame autos, and it kind of inspired me to try to put together the Cubs auto sets as well. So whenever I see these pop up for cheap and I can get them, they don't come up very often. I've got a handful of them now, but with, again, Morel being my favorite player on the Cubs right now, I wanted to snag that one. And then a few other cards that I just picked up on cheap auctions. The Suzuki on his rookie debut Sapphire, and Rondell White. So this is 2001, and this is a gold. This is the first year that Topps did the gold that's numbered to the year. So gold numbered to 2001 on the Rondell White. And those are some of the cards that I picked up. It's been a great time being away, been really fun seeing things. I think heading now into summer months, definitely have my eye on the National that's coming up. Things should be a little bit less busy now that I'm not studying for a huge exam. But I also am working on another really big project. I'm working on getting a PhD, so I'm working on my dissertation, and that definitely takes a lot of time. So things are pretty crazy at our household. I definitely have a lot of things on my plate, and it's fun to be able to collect baseball cards and to kind of enjoy looking into the history and something that's not as strenuous as studying for a licensing exam or writing a dissertation. But definitely looking forward to the National this summer, and hopefully getting to see a lot of the guys that I met at Strongsville, and maybe getting to meet a few other people, and just continuing to collect and see what kind of comes my way. If you're still watching, thank you. I know this was a longer video. I had a lot to get caught up on, and hopefully I'll be able to put out some more videos here now that things have slowed down a bit. And I just always appreciate the feedback and the comments. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who watches and subscribes, and thank you for watching Cardboard History.